I must thank VIF for giving me this opportunity. And after three very beautiful presentations, very informative, and definitely it added to my knowledge quite a lot. And after three eminent experts, I don't know how much you will be in a position to digest uh, thoughts from a relatively new person in the field of culture. But rather than really jumping onto some practical aspects, I would like to discuss a few philosophical aspects, which initially I raised in front of Mr. Deepak Bagala also. So, how do we understand culture? That is very important thing. I mean, once we understand culture, then we can understand the creative economy. Then we also can understand what is the cultural creative economy. So, I mean, a few days back, if you remember, our Honorable Prime Minister said that we should decolonize ourselves. And decolonize means it's not decolonizing, means changing the shape and facade of the buildings or changing some frames in the auditoriums or the rooms and the halls, which we are doing, but changing your mindset. And how do you change your mindset? You change your mindset with thoughts, with the philosophy, the things which you do. So we must understand what is culture for us. When we go out of our country and land up in any other country, and when you tell them that you are coming from India, what is the first reaction from the other countrymen? You are from India. They don't say you have a great defense power, you are a great economic power, you are a great scientific power. What is their first reaction? You have a great culture. So when we talk in Bharat, we must understand that culture is our first and foremost identity. We often teach the students, put your best foot forward. What is my best foot forward as Indian? Culture is my best foot forward as an Indian. So it should not be calculated in terms of the annual budget of a ministry which is allocated to Ministry of Culture. It may be 4,000 crores, it may be 3,000 crores, it hardly matters. Because culture flows in our blood and veins and thoughts and ethos. You cannot just put culture on a parallel theme as Panchayati Raj or a school education department or a Ministry of Trade and Commerce or Ministry of Shipping. Culture is something different than that. After working in the Ministry of Culture, I have very strongly started believing that it is not a vertical in the government. It should be a horizontal theme which should flow in all the departments and ministries of the government. Because that is my best foot. As an Indian, I am identified by my culture rather than anything else. Are we generating that thought? Are we bringing up that narrative? Are we taking up that thought forward? That is the first and foremost question. So when I say that colonial mindset, what is happening? We are often governed by the term or the construct given to us by Europe. In 1996 or 90, if I correctly remember, Joseph Ney gave a term known as soft power. And then we all started talking about soft power. But we always had that kind of a strength in our country. We never treated it as a soft power or something else, but it was already there in our day-to-day life, in our social stream, in our philosophy, everything. But when Europe gave us the term soft power, we realized that, all right, now we also doing something in the soft power. Why are we getting ourselves governed by the European construct? Why can't we build our own narrative? Very sorry to say, but creative economy is also a term which is being given to us by the West, and now we are trying to follow it. I will give you 2-3 examples. Not very old. July 1904, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore gave a historic speech known as Swadeshi Samaj. I think anybody who tried to understand the culture, wants to understand the culture, must read that speech. In that speech, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore explains what is the society, what is Indian society means, what are our strengths, and what is that we can achieve through our strengths. He also talks about village republic. He said that all the strength of the country lies in the democratization of the village. It was in 1904. I am not talking about ancient era. I am only talking about the modern thinkers. Mahatma Gandhi gave the concept of Gram Swaraj. And when he talks about Gram Swaraj, he also says that make villages independent, make them self-sufficient. And when we talk about self-sufficient, what does it mean? The industry, the livelihood, everything flows from that area. That is the essence of Gram Swaraj. It will not be out of context to mention here that when Mahatma Gandhi went for the Dandi March, he decided that he will not come back to Sabarmati Ashram until unless India gets free. So when the Dandi March was completed, he went to Nagpur, Wardha, where Jamlalal Bajaj ji offered him that you can stay in my guest house until some arrangement is made. So Gandhi ji stayed in Wardha for 2 years, 1930 to 1932. But we all know the kind of person Gandhi is. He will not sit quietly. So he created an institute for rural industries. That institute still exists today. By the way, IGNC is doing the conservation of that entire project now. But that institute created the total ecosystem of creative economy available in our rural areas. In a span of 2 years, Gandhiji invited eminent persons from all parts of the country. Persons like Nandlal Bose came and stayed with Gandhiji and created a whole bunch of artistic elements there. It was way back in 1930. Third instance. Few days back, we know our Honorable Prime Minister went to Somnath. We observed 1,000 years of demolition of Somnath temple. So as a part of history, we also know that Dr. Rajendra Prasad went to Somnath in 1951 for the consecration. So on 11th May 1951, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, in his historic speech on the occasion of consecration of Somnath temple, what does he say? I'll not read out the whole speech. I'll only read out the operative part on which I'm trying to come. It is in Hindi, but I hope we all know that much of Hindi. इस पुनीत अवसर पर हम सब के लिए उचित है कि हम आज के इस अवसर पर इस बात का व्रत लें कि जिस प्रकार हमने आज अपनी ऐतिहासिक श्रद्धा के इस प्रतीक में फिर से प्राण प्रतिष्ठा की है, उसी प्रकार हम अपने देश के जन साधारण के उस समृद्धि मंदिर में भी प्राण प्रतिष्ठा पूरी लगन से करेंगे, जिस समृद्धि मंदिर का एक चिन्ह सोमनाथ का पुरातन मंदिर था। उस ऐतिहासिक काल में, और यहीं मैं आपका ध्यान आकर्षित कर रहा हूं, उस ऐतिहासिक काल में हमारा देश सभ्य जगत का औद्योगिक केंद्र था। यहाँ के बने हुए माल से लदे हुए कारवां दूर दूर देशों को जाते थे और संसार का चांदी सोना इस देश में अत्यधिक मात्रा में खींचा चला आता था। हमारा निर्यात उस युग में बहुत था, आयात बहुत कम था। This is a part of history. Why India was known? We were not known for our agricultural products. हमको हमेशा पढ़ाया भारत कृषि प्रधान देश है। हमको लगा था कि हमारे पास कृषि था और कुछ था ही नहीं। But कृषि was not a part of our export. कृषि was there to use, barter system था। आप कुछ देंगे, कुछ हम देंगे। What was that which we were exporting? ये जो सारा हमारा, जिसको आज आप क्रिएटिव इकोनॉमी कहते हैं, कलाकृतियां कहते हैं, ये सारी चीजें, ऑल दोज थिंग्स वर एक्सपोर्टेड थ्रू आउट द ग्लोब। जिसको आज आप क्रिएटिव इंडस्ट्री कहते हैं, दैट वाज द पार्ट ऑफ इंडियाज इंडस्ट्रियल इकोसिस्टम। ये हिस्ट्री है। आप विल डुरांट की केस फॉर इंडिया पढ़ेंगे तो उसमें विल डुरांट आपको पूरे की पूरे स्टैटिस्टिक्स देते हैं कि व्हाट वाज द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ इंडियन इकोनॉमी इन द एंशिएंट पीरियड. वी मस्ट रीड दोज थिंग्स एंड अंडरस्टैंड what was the lineage, what is my history, from where are we arriving at today's situation. So if we keep that narrative in the right perspective, I think the entire philosophy of understanding the creative cultural economy would become quite clear. अभी भी अगर हम उसी नैरेटिव के साथ जाएंगे जो हमको यूरोपियन कंस्ट्रक्ट देता है, तो वो नैरेटिव हमको फिर से गलत दिशा में ही ले जाएगा. We will not understand our strengths. We will not realize our strength. Since a group of quite a few bright youngsters are sitting, I'm only urging them to read this part of history and understand what was my strength. क्यों वास्को डिगामा और कोलंबस को लगा कि भारत ढूंढना चाहिए, कोई और देश नहीं ढूंढ रहे थे? क्यों, क्या, व्हाट वाज द अर्ज of finding the route? Because India had that kind of a strength. And culture or creativity was a part of our entire culture. We never believed in documenting it or archiving it because we had the strength of creating everything every time anew. कोई बाहर से आता है और देखता है कि इतनी सुंदर रंगोली बनाई है, नेक्स्ट डे मॉर्निंग आपको देखते तो झाड़ू लगा के साफ कर देता है. वो आदमी पूछता रहे इतनी सुंदर चीज आपने मिटा दी, क्यों? हम दोबारा बना लेंगे. हमारे पास वो नो हाउ है, हमारे पास वो स्किल है. आप हर साल देखते हैं इतनी सुंदर दुर्गा जी की मूर्ति बनाते, गणेश जी की मूर्ति बनाते, इमर्स कर देती. क्यों? हमारे पास स्किल है. ये हमारी क्रिएटिविटी का भी एलिमेंट था और ये हमारे कल्चर का भी पार्ट था, और वो दोनों साथ में जाते थे. दे वेंट हैंड इन हैंड थ्रू आउट द एरा. बाद में जब हमारी परेशानी बड़ी, कॉलोनियल कंस्ट्रक्ट आया, व्हेन दे वांटेड टू डिमोलिश एवरीथिंग, दे आल्सो डिमोलिश्ड आवर psyche, our ethos, our philosophy of relating our culture to this kind of creativity. अभी दीपक जी बहुत अच्छी बात बता रही थी, जो हैंड इन हैंड जाता है. क्यों जाता था हैंड इन हैंड? क्योंकि वो पार्ट था, हमारे इकोसिस्टम का पार्ट था. सो मेरा आपसे अर्ज ये है कि हम हमारे पर्सपेक्टिव को सही ढंग से रखेंगे तो चीजें शायद हमारे पास बहुत सही ढंग से आ जाएंगी. नए लोगों में हमारे एजुकेशन, अभी आपने बात कही एजुकेशन सिस्टम की, वी आर नॉट ट्रेनिंग हाउ टू ग्रूम good curators, how to groom good collectors, how to groom good museum ecosystem. We did not develop that. We even do not tell people the local history. जो अमिता जी बता रही थी, local history is not taught in our schools. हम उनको, we are always teaching them a history जो उनसे कहीं दूर है. उनके सराउंडिंग में क्या जबरदस्त चीज है. आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ द आगरा स्टूडेंट वुड डेफिनेटली नो द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ दैट मुगल बाग. दे विल नॉट, बिकॉज इट इज नॉट बीइंग टॉट. सो ये जो सिस्टम है एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव ओवरऑलिंग मांगता है. इसको हम फ्रेगमेंट में देखेंगे तो फिर उसी सेक्टर में फंस जाएंगे. दीपक चिनाई जी ने उस बात का थोड़ा उल्लेख किया है. It requires a comprehensive. Where are we developing the ecosystem where we can really give space to a person who is trying to build up his kind of a creative philosophy or ethos in a small place, in a small district place? We don't have a place. We have not created that kind of an ecosystem. We are always depending on bigger ecosystems. Sir, you have rightly said, NMACC 7,000 का टिकट है. Who can afford to go and buy that? Nobody can. एक ऑर्डिनरी आदमी नहीं जा सकता. बट इन अवर कंट्री आर वी बिल्डिंग दैट इकोसिस्टम. तो हमारे इस इकोसिस्टम के ऊपर हमको काम करना चाहिए. मेरा कहना क्या है कि सर, द फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट नीड is to sort of build that kind of an ecosystem in our country where we are definitely nurturing the basic ethos of creativity in our culture. Once we understand our culture properly, आज सर मेरे 10 साल नौकरी के 2-4 महीने में हो जाएंगे, so I can now watch. There is no need for culture ministry. आप सबको कल्चर थोड़ा थोड़ा सिखा दीजिए. Why to have a separate ministry? Everyone must understand culture. आई बिलोंग टू एकेडमिक्स. हम लोग बड़े खुश हुए कि नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में कल्चर शामिल हो गया. सो वी वर ऑल हैप्पी दैट कल्चर बिकेम अ पार्ट ऑफ एजुकेशन. जबकि ये तो अपसाइड डाउन हो गया. एजुकेशन वाज पार्ट ऑफ आवर कल्चर. अभी हम बड़े खुश हो रहे हैं कि कल्चर बिकेम पार्ट ऑफ एजुकेशन. आप सोचिए, इट्स 360 डिग्री. पूरा अपसाइड डाउन हो गया. हमारी फिलॉसफी कहाँ गई, हमारा एथॉस कहाँ गया. हमारे कल्चर से एजुकेशन फ्लो होता था. और जो जो 2500 साल पहले, 3000 साल पहले, 5000 साल पहले जो हमारे सारे समाज में कल्चर इम्बाइब था, वो कहाँ गया. श्री कृष्ण और बलराम जब सांदीपनी ऋषि के आश्रम से अपनी शिक्षा प्राप्त करके निकले तो सांदीपनि जी ने कहा कि अब आप 64 कलाओं में पारंगत हो गए. कभी आपने जाना है कि वो 64 कलाएं क्या है? आप देखिए सर लिस्ट. किसी ग्रंथ में दे आर 72, इन सम टेक्स्ट दे आर 64. जस्ट ट्राई एंड सी दैट लिस्ट. आपके आज के मोस्ट मॉडर्न प्रोफेशन भी उसमें इंक्लूडेड है. ये 8000 साल पहले संदीपनी श्री कृष्ण और बलराम को कहते हैं कि आप इसमें पारंगत हो गए. इट इंक्लूड्स culinary आर्ट, इट इंक्लूड्स हेयर आर्ट, इट इंक्लूड्स इंटीरियर डेकोरेशन, it includes everything. So when we were so advanced 8,000 years back, why can't we build our own narrative on the creative economy? Why are we depending on anybody else's narrative? And why are we dancing on some other's tunes? That is the biggest question. I can give you hundreds of examples. I have those examples with me. But I mean, my honest submission is that since this is a very erudite forum where we can also think about the philosophical terms of creative economy, we should discuss about those terms also. This is a forum from where the narrative will go to the higher authorities, the government, the policymakers, the ministries, even the social scientists, cultural entrepreneurs, all. So why can't we set the right narrative? 140 crores Indians, and still we can't dictate our own narrative. It should not be the state of affairs. So we have at our IGNCA, as you have rightly said, we have also tried to do a little bit on our own to build that narrative, to sort of take those things forward, try to propagate those things. Whatever we have done is here. Madam, the Lal Bagh project has now come to us. We are doing the conservation of the Lal Bagh project. We are also doing the conservation of Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Rural Industries. We are also doing some work in Ladakh. And just to supplement what you have done is, you have told is that now what we are doing is that in Ladakh we have created a conservation lab in which they are doing almost the major conservation work which is expected from the government by training 45 local Ladakhi girls. So that is how the capacity is also built there. It's not only the lab which is being created, it's also the capacity which is being built. So similarly, we are also doing some very good important training programs on stained glass restorations. We have created a lab where we are teaching how the stained glass paintings can be restored, how they can be refitted. In fact, we are also trying to develop a workshop where we are teaching them how Indian figures can be put on the stained glass, so that we have more and more stained glass people doing that kind of a work. Similarly, mosaic restoration, which is a very difficult task. You must have seen the Baroda Palace. So the mosaic restoration has also been done by us. And we have also done cleaning of some prominent statues in different parts of the country. These are all our conservation activities. But in addition to that, we are also doing conservation of manuscripts and textiles so that these things can be restored. Professor Gaur, my colleague, is sitting. We are doing some important work in the deciphering of the manuscript, so that we also understand when we talk about our ancient knowledge system, we should also have the validation and proof from where we are coming to this proposition. So we should have the strong background of manuscripts from which we can do that, and so many things. But there are two, three important initiatives which I think would be worthwhile to mention here, because you have said about cultural mapping. So Government of India gave us a project 3 years back known as National Mission for Cultural Mapping. The idea was to map the entire country, especially the villages, culturally. So on 16 verticals, we are trying to map all 6.32 villages of our country. And you would be happy to know that the portal known as Mera Gaon Meri Dharohar has already been in operation, and we have already mapped 6.23 lakh villages on that. It's a work in progress, but it's like a Wikipedia where you can also go and put your submissions and suggestions and alterations, and we are ready to correct ourselves. So that is the one big this thing. Second initiative which Raghavan Singh sir initiated, उन्होंने बीजारोपण किया था, and we took it forward, known as Atmanirbhar Bharat Center for Design. It is in the barrack of Red Fort, one of the biggest barrack, where we are trying to sort of revive the kind of arts which could not be progressed because of the economic sustainability. So we are trying to bring the traditional craftspersons along with the modern days designers, youngsters like you. Both of them, they would sit together and try to evolve a system where their product becomes sustainable and economically viable. So that process is going on for last 3 years, and now we have done almost 25 projects. So we are also helping them in taking the GI tagging for those projects, and also trying to club them with the ODOP program, so that they are getting some more exposure for that product. So now the economy model is also being worked out, and we have now more than 500 artisans from different part of the country belonging to different trades. They are also helping us. In fact, you would be happy to understand that recently, in past 2 3 big events related to UNESCO, ABCD was instrumental in not only providing them the bags and the mementos, but other stationery material also. So that was a kind of a sustainable model which we have developed. And we have also done the art curation for the new Parliament building, where almost a project of 175 crores was given to IGNCA. So I mean, I'm only trying to tell you that initially when we joined, I mean, I joined, my budget of the institution was only 30 crores. But today also it is not more than 60 crores. But we generate funds through our different resources, and take projects to the tune of 150 crores almost every year. So that is also trying to bring the sustenance of that. And since IGNC is a government institution, we are not a profit-making institution. But as you said, sir, rightly, that more or less we are working like a Section 8 company. So when the question of who would build the India Pavilion at Osaka World Expo, when everyone surrendered, and in one Osaka, one expo, I think Ifiki was there. Two, when in Dubai. This time the work was given to some other ITPO, and ITPO assigned this contract to someone else. But somehow it didn't work. So ultimately, जैसे कि राघवेंद्र सिंह सर ने कहा कि ट्रबल शूटर तो ये सारा हमारे ऊपर गिरा, and we completed the project in record time, that is only 6 months. जबकि दूसरे देश वहां पर 2 2 साल से काम कर रहे थे. We were only given 6 months. Not only we completed the project, but in the history of Expo, this year India Pavilion bagged 4 prestigious awards also. So that was the kind of achievement which we did with our limited resources. It's only to say that when we have right intentions, as you rightly said, we can even in a government system, we can try to make a difference. That is what we are trying to do. And finally, on a personal note, I would say that please treat me, if you consider me as a scholar, treat me as a scholar for doing something good in the creative economy field. I'll be very happy to contribute. Thank you very much.